Hello, thank you for joining us on the news at 7. I'm Ruth Aguele. My sign language interpreter is Taiwo Ozoma. Let's bring you the headlines. IMF Managing Director commends President Tinubu's administration for economic reforms. Vice President presides over 146th National Economic Council with focus on current economic challenges. Plus, Southern African leaders meet to discuss post-election turmoil. The International Monetary Fund has commended President Bola Tinubu's administration for various reforms embarked upon to reposition Nigeria's economy for the better. It was when the IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva visited President Tinubu on the sidelines of the just concluded G20 Leaders Summit in Rio de Janeiro. State House correspondent Musbahuddin Wahab reports.
A timely meeting to get the true position of its global financial agency on current reforms undertaken by Nigerian governments. There have been various narratives about the agency's recent reports on regional economic outlook for sub-Saharan Africa, Nigeria inclusive. But certainly, no one currently carries the authorities of the IMF than its managing director, Kristalina Georgieva. She lauded Tinubu's administration for its reforms, especially the social investment programs targeted at the most vulnerable, and promised the cooperation of the body in the process. Kristalina said, contrary to perceptions, IMF is focused on developing vulnerable societies and devotes substantial resources to emerging economies. The IMF boss promised to offer technical support for the budgeting process, adding that it will assist Nigeria in getting the best results from loans at less cost.
Second area of technical support that they are offering is in the area of our fiscal, monetary and structural reforms. The third area is in the area where they can help us to create more fiscal space and then helping us to then attract more concessionary funding from different development partners, because when you have higher fiscal space, then you can actually do more. And the fourth area is in helping us with our borrowing policies so that we can borrow at a cheaper cost and that the benefits of the borrowing can be felt in the economy by everybody.
President Tinubu appreciated the Global Financial Agency for its support in the implementation of the reforms and called for more institutional backing for stability and sustainable growth. He promised that his administration will continue to prioritize the welfare of the poor and most vulnerable, even as the administration's reform begin to bear fruits. The Nigerian leader noted that substantial resources must be invested to stimulate the much-needed infrastructural developments in the country. And the president updated the IMF boss that Nigeria's ongoing tax reforms will further stimulate the economy.
We've instituted the reforms on our own. We didn't even do the reform based on IMF advice. We started the reform and we felt this was the best way to go for our economy to survive, for us to benefit maximally from government policies and incentives. We had to remove those subsidies. Now we've done it on our own. And the IMF is saying, now you've done the reform, so if we're going to support you, we're not asking you to do any more reform because you've already done the reform. So we're now here to support you because you've done the reform on your own. How much more can we now give you to stabilize your economy and for the people, the citizens, to feel the impact of these transformational policies and reforms that we've instituted?
President Tinubu also urged the institution to change the perception that the reforms it backs tend to be tailored along Western ideas rather than the needs of the developing world. From Rio de Janeiro, Musbahuddin Wahab, NTA News.
And as we turn our attention back home, Vice President Kashim Shettima presided over the National Economic Council meeting at the Council Chamber of the Presidential Villa. The meeting, which is 146th And the aid in the year 2024 has state governors and other stakeholders in attendance to discourse and come up with robust solutions to the current economic challenges facing the nation. Edo State Governor Monday Akpebolo is also attended the council meeting for the first time after he was sworn in as the governor of the state. The vice president also gave the new governor an opportunity to lead the opening prayer for the commencement of the council meeting. The federal government is seeking partnership with subnationals to build capacity and expertise towards the realization of potential benefits from bilateral agreements reached recently with countries and development partners. This was at the 17th Community of Practice meeting of Commissioners for Budget and Economic Planning. The meeting is looking at the state of the economy, capitalizing on opportunities arising from recent bilateral agreements between Nigeria and some other countries. Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Senator Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, believes there is a lot of low-risk financing available for states to unlock economic potential, while also leveraging on resources of partners.
The Global Gateway Facility of the European Union is 150 billion euro for Africa. And she said, as far as they are concerned, Nigeria is half of Africa, meaning we can mobilize 70 to 80 billion euros. So these monies are out there, these opportunities are out there.
These opportunities will not translate into tangible benefits without intentional, deliberate, strategic efforts.
On legislative matters, Senate has approved federal government's request to implement the $2.2 billion external borrowing to fund part of the 2024 budget deficit. The approval follows adoption of recommendations of the Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debts as contained in its report. The $2.2 billion, totaling 1.7 trillion naira, would be used to partially finance the 9.7 trillion naira deficit of the 2024 fiscal year. The approval came 48 hours after the request from the President was communicated at plenary. And the House of Representatives has rejected a bill seeking single term of 6 years for the office of the President and state governors. The bill, which also proposed rotational presidency among the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria and for general elections to be held on a single day, failed to scale through second reading on the floor. Sponsored by Representative Ugochinyere Ikegwonu and 33 other lawmakers, the bill was rejected without a debate when put to a voice vote by Speaker Tajuddin Abbas.
That a bill for an act to alter the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended to provide for a single term of 6 years for the office of President and state governors, provide for the rotation of offices of President and state governors and chairman of local government council among the inherent regions and zones, and to provide that all elections be held on a single day to be read for a second time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
I rise to second this great motion. I so second, Mr. Speaker. Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The nays have it.
National Assembly correspondent Mitari Ikpen reports that the House at the Committee on Supply approved President Tinubu's request for the issuance of $2.2 billion in Eurobonds as new external borrowing in the 2024 budget. Troops of the Nigerian Armed Forces have arrested a Cameroonian alongside a notorious kidnapper in Taraba State. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that the Director, Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, announced this in Abuja while giving update on armed forces operations across the country.
Aerial surveillance reports show that interdiction by the Nigerian Air Force tracing and destroying terrorist and bandit camps in parts of Katsina and Zamfara states. Details of ongoing operations indicate that 138 kidnapped victims have been rescued, while 238 terrorists were arrested in different parts of the country. Troops responding to terrorist activities have arrested a Cameroonian alongside a notorious kidnapper in Taraba State.
The troops responded to terrorist activities and arrested a notorious kidnapper, including a Cameroonian. Preliminary investigation identified him as a member of the Ambazonian freedom fighter.
On the Lakura terror group in parts of Sokoto and Katsina states, the Director of Defense Media Operations stressed that the recently unified Operation Fansanyama is combating the threat.
They have come at a time where our operations in the northwestern part of this country has been rejigged. We now have an operational theater similar to what we have in the northeast now. They are a threat to our national security. We recognize them as such, and we are taking them out.
The defense headquarters enjoin Nigerians to support security agencies with useful information to enhance proactive operations across theater commands. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Nigeria partners Republic of Singapore to strengthen bilateral ties, particularly in upscaling Nigeria's energy transition plan for better power generation and improve the mining sector, among other areas. The Permanent Secretary, Umar Ahmed Dunoma, disclosed this when he received in audience Maliki Osman, Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister of Singapore in Abuja. Garba Nata'Allah reports that the Permanent Secretary, who represented the minister, acknowledges Singapore as Nigeria's fourth largest partner on the African continent. The economic cooperation between the two countries is culminating from over 55 years of bilateral relations. And so far, Singapore continues to contribute immensely in Nigeria's economic growth.
Making in the economic sphere in Nigeria in terms of contributing to our GDP and job creation, and also inform them that the present government of President Ahmed Bola Tinubu is diversifying the economy more into non-oil areas like mining, agriculture, renewable energy, tourism.
We are happy to journey with Nigeria on your developmental journey, including capacity building as well as providing opportunities for economic engagements in new areas of growth, whether it's in ICT, whether it's in AI, whether it's in renewable energy. These are new frontiers that we ought to work together to capitalize on, albeit very challenging circumstances that exist in different parts of the world.
Both parties are committed to focusing on capacity building and job creation, while also exploring new areas of collaboration that will mutually benefit both countries. 21st of November every year is observed as Television Day. We turn our focus on the power of television as a tool for education, unity, and social change. Well, the day highlights television's impact on global awareness and its pivotal role in shaping the future. In Nigeria, the importance of television in driving change, promoting peace, and fostering dialogue has never been more evident. Justin Bem Onye reports.
Television has been a vital tool for global communication, connecting people and shaping public opinion. Since its establishment by the United Nations in 1996, World Television Day highlights television's influence in addressing conflicts, promoting peace, and fostering social development. In countries like Nigeria, it plays a crucial role in discussions on security, health, and governance.
Okay, every content on television is carefully planned. You go out to do research to find out what is it that people really want to know. And of course, it will be careful planning and careful execution of programs, contents on television, you find out that the information, the accurate information that the people require, the accurate entertainment, education that people require, get to them.
This year's World Television Day theme is accessibility, emphasizing inclusive content that promotes education, social change, and strengthens global connections. Amid misinformation, television remains a trusted source of truth, reaching millions with content that inspires and informs.
If you look at it with the advent of the social media these days, you find a whole lot of misinformation happening right there because the social media is an open space. But coming to television, there's clear definition of ownership.
In Nigeria, television's reach is undeniable, offering a range of programming from news to educational content that shapes the nation's future. However, ensuring accessibility, especially in rural areas, remains a challenge. The UN's focus on accessibility calls for inclusive broadcasting to ensure everyone can benefit from television's power.
Information, they say, is power. By that, you mean that when you have the power of information, you're better informed to take decisions. You're empowered to get involved in the things that are happening around you. It also helps the government to take, make better policies because there's feedback, whether the person is from the rural area or from urban community.
As we celebrate World Television Day, it is clear that television is not just entertainment. It is a force for change and progress, shaping a brighter future for all, particularly in Nigeria. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
And NTA will continue to drive that change through quality content. Let's take a break. We're back. Stay tuned.
Government of Nigeria warns vandals of national assets, electricity transmission towers, cables and other facilities to desist from this act of sabotage. Vandalism is a serious crime punishable under the law. Vandalizing electrical equipment will affect millions of Nigerians, including your loved ones. Remember that national assets belong to all of us, hence the need to protect them. Report all cases of suspicious movement around electrical facilities to security agencies. When you see something, say something. This message is from the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation in collaboration with the National Counter-Terrorism Center, NCTC, Office of the National Security Advisor.
Thank you for staying tuned. And still on World Television Day, the Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, BON, says television as a channel of communication remains the medium to beat in the advancement of democratic governance globally, and most especially in Nigeria. In a statement by BON's Executive Secretary Yemisi Gbangbose, he said to demonstrate the importance of television in the advancement of democracy, Nigerian political leaders had to struggle before independence to remove the ownership of the television broadcasting from the exclusive list. He notes that since the birth of Western Nigeria television on 31st October 1959, television as a channel of communication has been an amazing medium used for the advancement of democracy, good governance, and promotion of democratic values. Similarly, the Nigerian Television Authority joins the global community in celebrating World Television Day 2024, a day dedicated to acknowledging the profound impact of television in connecting, educating, and inspiring people worldwide. In a statement by NTA's Director General Salihu Abdulhamid Dambas, he said television has remained a powerful medium for communication, fostering understanding and unity across diverse cultures and societies. He says for over 4 decades, NTA has proudly served as Nigeria's foremost broadcaster, committed to delivering quality programming which informs, entertains, and empowers citizens. The Director General notes that this year's theme, Shaping the Future Through Television, underscores the evolving role of television in driving societal progress, amplifying diverse voices, and promoting sustainable development goals. African-China News is seeking collaboration with the international arm of the Nigerian Television Authority towards fostering stronger cultural ties between Africa and China. Chief Executive Officer of the organization, Zhen Xiongpeng, expressed the desire during a visit to the management of NTA International in Abuja. The visit underscores a growing commitment towards promoting mutual understanding between the two countries. Let's hear from Comfort Fashion.
During the just concluded Forum of Africa-China Summit, Chinese President Xi Jinping described the ties between Africa and China as one rooted in a shared history of solidarity, friendship, and cooperation. This was corroborated and amplified by the Chief Executive Officer, Africa-China News, Chen Xiaopeng, during the visit to the management of the Nigerian Television Authority International. He also spoke on the crucial role of the media in shaping perceptions and fostering cross-cultural dialogue. Chen Xiaopeng expressed the keen interest the Chinese media outfit has in partnering with the Nigerian Television Authority to produce joint cultural exchange programs that will showcase the rich heritage and traditions of both Africa and China, as well as a potential for mutual understanding and cooperation.
Africa-China News, we are a platform to working with other Africa ambassadors, also Africa government to promotion the culture exchange, to let more and more Chinese understand our Africa special culture. Also, we promotion the tourism. From our Africa Channel News, I want more and more tourism will come to Nigeria.
General Manager, NTA International, Ogaya Simon, said the station is poised to collaborate with international organizations towards showcasing development in Nigeria and Africa to the outside world, just as the slogan of NTA International is Africa's window to the world. She agreed with the visitor that partnership with his organization will further boost the promotion of cultural exchange between Africa and China.
I believe that you have come to the right place. Since the DG has said we should work with you, we'll work with you in trying to see how best we can shape and improve the cultural ties that exist and also showcase, because you can be doing so much. If people don't see it, they won't know about it.
The visit marked an important step towards complementing government efforts at enhancing socio-cultural values in both countries. Comfort, Fashion, NTA News.
There are concerns that Nigeria is experiencing widespread challenges attributed to climate change. However, the country is matching this with the implementation of policies and plans to cut greenhouse gas emission. These and other issues were presented before head of states and governments by the Minister of Environment, Balarabe Abbas, while conveying President Tinubu's message at COP29. Let's hear from Charles Alva.
Almost 10 years after the Paris Agreement, the world stands at a defining juncture on the transition away from fossil fuels as Nigeria joined the world in the deployment and adoption of several interrelated technologies, especially that of renewable energy sources, as part of efforts to meet net zero targets. President Tinubu, in his address to leaders at COP29 in Baku, said the country is committed to implementing its energy transition plan and long-term low-emission development strategy, with Nigeria working towards achieving net zero emissions by 2060. Nigeria, he also said, has developed its NDC implementation framework and looks forward to partnering development partners on its delivery.
The country is committed to implement its energy transition plan a long-term emission development strategy with the goal of increasing energy efficiency. We are open to collaborating and partnering to expand our proportion of renewable energy. Further, Nigeria is working towards achieving net zero emissions by 2060.
He said Nigeria, in its stride towards reducing susceptibility to climate change, is incorporating adaptation measures into policies, programs, and actions, reduce its carbon footprint while achieving national objectives. Nigeria joins the rest of the African countries in demanding easier access to international climate finance, including grants and concessional loans to support adaptation and mitigation efforts. From Baku, Azerbaijan, Charles Alpha, NTA News. Australia's Communications Minister Michelle Rowland has introduced a world-first law into Parliament on Thursday that will ban children under 16 from social media, saying online safety was one of parents' toughest challenges. The bill seeks to set a new normative value in society that accessing social media is not the defining feature of growing up in Australia. Comfort Fashion reports.
Social media companies could be fined more than $30 million if they fail to keep children off their platforms. This is under new laws tabled before Australia's Parliament. TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, Reddit, X, and Instagram were among the platforms that would face fines of up to $50 million for systemic failures to prevent young children from holding accounts. Australia is among the vanguard of nations trying to clean up social media, and the proposed age limit would be among the world's strictest measures aimed at children. Details about how social media companies are expected to enforce the ban remain unclear. The proposed laws would also include robust privacy provisions that require tech platforms to delete any age verification information collected. Minister for Communications, Michelle Rowland, said that social media companies had a responsibility for the safety and mental health of Australians.
This is about protecting young people, not punishing or isolating them, and letting parents know we're in their corner when it comes to supporting their children's health and well-being.
Some companies will be granted exemptions from the ban, such as YouTube, which teenagers may need to use for schoolwork or other reasons. Rowland said that messaging services such as WhatsApp and online gaming would also be exempted. If the proposed law passes, tech platforms will be given a 1-year grace period to figure out how to implement and enforce the ban. Several other countries have been tightening children's access to social media platforms. Spain passed a law in June banning social media access to under 16s. And in the U.S. state of Florida, children under 14 will be banned from opening social media accounts under a new law due to come into force in January. Comforts, Fashion, NTA News.
And just before we go, let's have a quick look at tomorrow's weather. And that concludes the news. Thank you for your time. I'm Ruth Aguela. My sign language interpreter is Taiwo Ozoma. Bye.